What's up, guys? This is Anime Crossover. I'm back with another episode of What If Naruto Was the Red Flash Part 13. And if you did enjoy this video, give this video a like for more crossover fictions. And if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions with a twist. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 9: The World's Greatest Detective. Late March of this year. Star Labs, Central City. The battle with Orochimaru concluded the first chapter in Naruto's battle with the Nine. He triumphed, but it was not without difficulty. They had to wait for their next chance to chase down two leaders, Sasori and Deidara. But that was for another day. Right now, it was all about mending and planning ahead. Naruto stood outside Star Labs, waiting for Kankuro and Temari to come. Gaara's older siblings, Kankuro and Temari Suna, were overjoyed that he was alive and healthy. Orochimaru had directed Gaara to send them emails over the years to discourage any attempts to find him, but now that he was gone, Naruto summoned them to Star Labs since there was a lot they needed to know. A Volkswagen Jetta drove up to the curb from the vacant parking lot. Kankuro exited the driver's side, while Temari exited the passenger side. Kankuro wore a black and purple suit with spiky brown hair, while Temari wore heels, a long black skirt, and a white button-up with a business jacket over. Kankuro worked as a designer for a large toy manufacturer, whereas Temari was an entry-level employee at an avionics firm. "Thank you for coming, too," Naruto remarked as Temari ran over to hug him. "Sorry it had to be like this." "No, please, we're just glad he's okay," Temari said as Kankuro and Naruto hugged. "A part of me was always worried about him, but I never thought he'd end up here." "What happened? You were a little vague on the phone," Kankuro inquired. "There's a reason for that. This is best done inside." Naruto led them into the Star Labs before taking the elevator to floor 540, his allocated work floor and where he relocated Gaara. "Wow, this place is impressive," Kankuro commented as he looked around the structure. "Will my friends be jealous when I tell them I got an inside look at this place?" "That's not going to happen, Kankuro. I'm sorry, but what you're going to learn today, no one knows," Naruto said. "Know what?" Temari inquired as they entered a hospital room. Gaara was listening to classical music, which helped him relax and formed part of his recuperation routine. His eyes were closed, as if he was at ease. Gaara. When Meta opened his eyes, he noticed his older brother and sister standing in the doorway, Temari. She ran up to hug him, and he returned the hug, holding her close and shedding small tears of delight. Kankuro joined the two, reuniting the three Suna siblings. "It's so good to see you too. I thought I'd never see you again," Gaara murmured as he wiped away his tears. "What happened, Gaara? Naruto wouldn't tell us anything except that you were here. Are you okay? Did one of Naruto's experiments hurt you? Because if it did, he's dead." Temari gave him a death stare. "Easy, Temari," Kankuro sought to reassure her. "Nothing like that, Temari. He's been assisting me, and I wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for him," Gaara explained. "What happened?" Kankuro simply needed to know what the hell was going on. "It's a long story," Naruto said, bringing over two chairs for them to sit in while he and Gaara narrated what had transpired. He was worried about them knowing the truth, but Gaara would feel better if his brother and sister understood the complete tale. It was a lot for them to take in, and much more so for Gaara, but hoped things would improve as they worked together. "If that son of a bitch was still alive, I'd kill him over and over," Temari raged, displaying her protective elder sister nature. "But he isn't, and he killed everyone in his organization who would have known Gaara, so he's fine, and I have someone taking some precautions to ensure that remains the case," Naruto explained. "So, this is what you do when you're not inventing? Fighting crime in spandex?" Kankuro inquired. "Sort of. I'm taking a break right now, but basically," Naruto said. "Naruto's been assisting me. Trying to get back to the person I used to be," Gaara explained. "We've been assisting each other, and a lot happened that night," Naruto explained. "But we're moving in the right direction." "So, what happens now?" Temari inquired. "I figured you three could use some alone time. Taking a vacation would help with everything and help you guys reconnect, but Gaara's always welcome back here if he needs help with his powers or if he wants a job." Gaara reminded him, "Thanks for the offer, Naruto, but I'm not a scientist. And I wouldn't hire you as one, but I hope to expand Star Labs beyond this one facility, and with expansion comes the development of a legal department, human resources, and a public relations group, which I recall was kind of your specialty when we were in college." Gaara grinned as she remembered happier days. "I'll think about it, Naruto," he says. "Don't bring it up. If you need anything, just let me know," Naruto remarked, leaving them alone and strolling over to his work lab, office. He came in and noticed Kurama sleeping on a small cushion beside his desk. He sat at his desk and scratched the fox behind the ears, causing his tail to flutter slightly as he slept. He turned on his computer terminal to continue working on projects and check work emails. Ah, wasn't that scene tooth-achingly sweet? Naruto took a deep breath and returned to his job, ignoring what was stated. He opened an email from the Weathersby and Stone law firm about a business meeting in Gotham later that week. Naruto received a response from the office of Lucius Fox of Wayne Enterprises regarding the scheduling of a business meeting to discuss business potential. "It's cute how you think you can help Gaara, but you can't, he's a monster like you," Orochimaru mocked as he sat on the edge of the desk. "What's the matter, Naruto? You're too good to talk to me, or are you afraid I might be right?" "No, I'm not going to talk to a figment of my imagination brought on by my lingering guilt. I'm not insane," Naruto answered, spinning over in his chair to retrieve some papers. "Besides, you're getting quieter and quieter every day." "Try as you may, Naruto. I'll never leave, and I'll always be here," Orochimaru mocked. "And I'll learn to live with it," Naruto said as the Orochimaru ghost departed, allowing him to resume his task in peace. Naruto took Kurama and his cushion up to the cortex after almost an hour, holding a large docket of paperwork in his other hand. He stepped in and noticed Cisco and Dr. Wells at work on the computer, as well as Caitlin texting with Ronnie. He and Professor Stein were making good progress with the firestorm thing, steadily learning more about their abilities. They'd most likely be back in Central City soon.
"Naruto, how's Gaara doing?" Dr. Wells inquired. "Better. With Kankuro and Temari here, he'll get better. Sorry if knowing complicates things, but frankly, it's the only way he'll get better. Besides, they know me, and I'm terrible at keeping secrets from them," Naruto stated.
"It's fine. You trust them, and we trust you," Dr. Wells replied. "What exactly do you have there?" "Some legal stuff," Naruto said as he sat Kurama and his cushion on a chair and handed the docket files to Dr. Wells, Caitlin, and Cisco. "To be honest, if you had told me that making scientific breakthroughs and changing the world would require so much legal work, I would have preferred not to be a co-owner of Star Labs." "Technically, wouldn't it be CFO?" Caitlin inquired. "What exactly do you mean?" "Well, Dr. Wells is the CEO of Star Labs, and since he's made you a co-owner, you'd be the CFO, Caitlin explained. "I'm not sure that title accurately reflects what I do. A CFO deals with the company's finances, and while I'm doing that now, it's not the only thing I do," Naruto countered. "Perhaps CEO instead," offered Dr. Wells. "That won't be for a while, Dr. Wells, you'll outlive us all," Naruto laughed. "Besides, we can worry about my legal status in the company later. I'd rather concentrate on what I just handed you guys." "Yeah, what's this?" Cisco asked, skimming through it. He couldn't possibly read it all now. "With the larger magnifying glass on us from our recent press conference, we'll need to do more to make this place seem like an actual science lab and not someplace that helps two speedster metahumans fight crime on a daily basis," Naruto explained. "By the way," Cisco reminded him, "I've been wanting to talk to you about your suit." "Later, Cisco. This is just an official legal document outlining your position at Star Labs. Dr. Caitlin Snow, you are head of the bioengineer and biomedical department, which consists of just you for the time being." Naruto shrugged. "However, you did receive a raise commensurate with your position." Caitlin took a glance, and the large number caused her eyes to widen. "Are you sure about that?" "If you don't want it, I could always lower your salary," Naruto suggested, and she shook her head no. "Besides, it reflects the work you've done. A lot of the biomedical technology and renovations in the Wayne Enterprises proposal were made with your help, as were other scientific advancements with Cisco's help, or should I say, Cisco Ramon, head of the Scientific Mechanical Engineering Division of Star Labs." "Nice," Cisco said as he saw his income, and to say he was overjoyed was an understatement. Caitlin inquired, "Are you sure you can afford this?" "At the moment, no," Naruto replied, quickly deflating the mood, "but we're on our way. We've already sold the specialized bulletproof vests to Central City Police and various small security firms in the city, and I've already finished the vests and packed them for orders from New York City, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Miami, and Los Angeles." "How did you do it so fast?" Caitlin wondered, realizing her silly question. Naruto told him, "I'll send them out for shipment later today." "Because this is a real thing," Cisco said, "we should try to figure out a more efficient assembly and distribution system. One of my many hopeful plans. For now, I can handle the assembly, but we could license out our design to companies that make vests and have them do it for us while we get paid," But ultimately, the hope would be that Star Labs does everything itself, Naruto stated. Kind of a tall order given we only have 4 of us, Dr. Wells reminded him. And the fact that if this place was crawling with employees, it wouldn't be the best secret lair for our nighttime activities, Caitlin added. Which is why I'm already looking into buying a smaller location somewhere in the city. A sort of Star Labs expansion that we can use to do day-to-day science business and where we can have new hires work while this place stays the same and is designated just for us. Naruto offered. Dr. Wells commented, not a bad plan, but not entirely viable at the moment. You're right. So, in the meantime, we'll just focus on what the 4 of us can do here. We've got the meeting with the city council tomorrow about activating the Arc Reactor. Cisco, if you wouldn't mind getting the power lines set up to route the power out to the city? Naruto said. He said, sure thing. If you don't mind, Caitlin, could you start working on those medical equipment upgrade plans and schematics? He said, and see where we are on those medical trials and enhanced vaccines. Sure thing. That just leaves us with the logistical stuff, Dr. Wells, Naruto explained. Specifically, all the paperwork that's required for the Arc Reactor and getting our oxyhydrin bacteria out into the world. Dr. Wells responded, then let's get started. To be honest, the next few hours were spent signing paperwork and making changes. You have no clue how much paperwork is involved in establishing a new energy firm and distributing power to all of Central City and its adjacent suburbs, although the payoff would be quite substantial. Later that day, after his shift at work, Barry walked into Star Labs and through the corridors when he saw Dr. Wells with a package of files in one hand and a coffee in the other. Dr. Wells. Mr. Allen, I assume things are relatively quiet in the city because you didn't super speed here? He remarked as Barry took some of the papers to assist. Nothing serious, though I'm assuming you've been doing a lot of paperwork from the look of these papers. Barry readjusted his arms so they didn't fall. That we have. Naruto has a lot of paperwork for tomorrow's meeting with the city council and the mayor to activate the Arc Reactor for the entire city, plus the meeting with Wayne Enterprises later this week, Dr. Wells informed. Right. Barry was concerned about Naruto, not only because of all of his labor, but also because of what happened during his fight with Orochimaru. How has he been? I mean, how has he been dealing with everything since Orochimaru? As best as we can hope, he's been having some therapy sessions with Shizune back at the shelter. She's a trained specialist and has helped all of the children at the shelter. She'll be able to help Naruto through this as well as the rest of us, Dr. Wells responded when he noticed Barry's expression. Is there something else concerning you, Mr. Allen? Yeah, Barry remarked as the two came to a halt in the middle of the hall to talk privately. Something happened to Naruto while we were in Starling City, during his battle with Orochimaru. He said it was an accident when he killed Orochimaru, Dr. Wells offered, and Barry nodded. And it was. I saw the whole thing, and Naruto didn't intend for that to happen, but before that, Orochimaru's meta ability allowed him to transform into some giant snake, and he nearly killed Naruto, but something happened. Naruto turned the fight in his favor with that glowing armor we saw him use against Hartley, Barry explained. As I suspected, this must be a new ability Naruto can use that activates during times of great stress or danger. Hartley nearly killed him, and Orochimaru nearly killed him, so perhaps some kind of unconscious link in his brain activates it, Dr. Wells speculated. But that's not the strange part. Something happened to him after it happened and Naruto had Orochimaru on the ropes, Barry remarked, and judging by his tone, it was something that actually startled and possibly worried him a little. Define something. Okay. I don't know how but Naruto suddenly changed. His body began vibrating super fast to the point where he was a blur, his eyes were glowing red, and his lightning color changed from crimson and white to blood red, Barry explained, and Dr. Wells appeared concerned. And his voice sounded just like him. You're not suggesting that Naruto is the Reverse Flash, are you? Dr. Wells inquired, and Barry shook his head no. Of course not. He was by my side when the Reverse Flash attacked in December, but what I saw was exactly like that, Barry explained. I mean, I was there, and it's still hard for me to believe. What does Naruto have to say about what just happened? He remembers some of what happened, but he said it was like every single angry emotion he felt toward Orochimaru intensified to the point where he couldn't see straight. I mean, he attacked us when we tried to stop him, even Linda, which I didn't think was possible. This is unsettling, but it explains why Naruto has yet to build himself a new suit or use the spare that Cisco made for him, Dr. Wells said. He's afraid it will happen again. Do you think the Reverse Flash did something to him? I highly doubt it with all the tests we've run, Drive Wells said, but I'll double-check his last results. There's still a lot we don't know about your powers and how they connect you two to the Reverse Flash. Clearly Naruto tapped into something for this to happen, but it doesn't appear to be the case anymore as his lighting has returned to normal. I suppose we'll have to keep an extra eye on him from now on to make sure this doesn't happen again. Thank you, Dr. Wells, Barry said, but I'm just wondering if the Reverse Flash really did something to him, and if he did, then that means he can come after the rest of us. You don't think Naruto's been working for him this whole time? Dr. Wells said, glancing at Barry, I don't believe so, do you? I don't think so, but after what I saw, I'm not sure what to believe. Barry was honestly unsure. I trust Naruto with my life. We've fought side by side for months, but after what happened, I can't help but feel that something else is going on. Does this sound crazy? We're having a conversation about superpowers. Crazy has become the new normal, as Naruto would say, said Dr. Wells. I also know Naruto would never, ever betray your trust. He is your friend, and you should never doubt that. You're right, Barry said, shaking his head and taking a big breath to clear his mind. We'll figure out what happened to Naruto, Mr. Allen, and believe me when I say, never lost faith in him. I haven't, Dr. Wells said as the two entered the cortex and were greeted by Joe standing in the middle of the room while Naruto took his measurements like a tailor. Okay, Cisco measurements for jacket are 38 inches by 28.9 inches long, so let's round that up to 29, Naruto said, pulling out a measuring tape as he had done before. On it, Cisco said, typing everything into the computer. Do you want to use the macro fiber material to adjust for crimping and stretching? Yeah, that should be fine and won't compromise the structural integrity of the armor, he said, double-checking the measures. Joe, are you comfortable with your pants measurements or do you want me to take them because I'd rather not? That brings us to 2. I'm a 38 inches long, Joe informed him. Thank you, Naruto said as he handed him his jacket so he could dress. I guess you were right to lose faith in him now, Barry said, and Dr. Wells nodded. Joe, what exactly are you doing here? Naruto found me and wanted me to get fitted for the new concealed body armor. How did he find you? Dr. Wells inquired as Naruto and Joe exchanged glances. Rewind 30 minutes. Naruto was strolling down a hallway on one of the floors after retrieving some extra equipment from storage when he heard snoring. When he heard snoring, he came to a halt and walked over to the source, which was coming from a room-designated lounge. When he walked in and turned on the lights, he saw Joe asleep on the couch. Joe awoke from his snooze due to the sudden influx of light. Naruto. Joe was surprised to find himself dozing off in the lounge. I can explain. No need, Naruto said as he came in and saw Joe making himself at home with a lovely cushion and blanket. How long have you known about this place? I came here one day when Barry first started. Dot and I've been napping here ever since, Joe explained. Well, far be it from me to intrude on a man's sacred napping spot, but don't worry, your secret is safe with me, Naruto comforted him as he walked up to the small coffee counter per bar in the far corner. Do you want me to set up this thing for you? No, that's fine. Having an espresso machine that works kind of defeats the purpose of a napping spot. Fair enough, but since you're here, how about we get you fitted for your body armor? Offered Naruto. Joe said, fine by me. Finish the flashback. Joe stopped by for a status update, so I figured now was as good a time as any to get him fitted for this. Just give me a few minutes and I'll have it and some spares ready, Naruto explained. Sure, you guys are pretty busy around here, Joe said. Well, with all of Naruto's work, there are some logistical items to take care of, Dr. Wells explained, stepping up to the computer and placing several files on the table. I have the analysis data on the Arc Reactor's muon energy reaction. Are you planning on doing what I believe you are? It depends on whether you're thinking what I'm thinking, Naruto said. What are you both thinking? Barry inquired, holding up Naruto's parents' old notepad. Just some Arc Reactor tech applications my parents came up with, let me show you. Naruto got a rolling cart and a tablet, while Cisco grabbed 2 light projector scanners and positioned them across from each other on the cart. When he turned them on, a cyan blue light emitted from both, forming a light field between them. I present to you the first ever holographic hard light projection interface, which Cisco, Dr. Wells, and I managed to finally get working. Cisco positioned his phone within the light field produced by the 2 light projectors. The projectors scanned the item in question quickly before projecting a 3D representation in the air. The hologram was extremely comprehensive and included phone information and schematics. Cisco reached into the field and touched the hologram as if it were real, and it responded to his touch. It moved when he held it, and it was a real-life hologram, just like in movies and other pop culture depictions. Cisco held his palms out, and the phone's hologram disassembled into its different layers and components, each with detailed data. Incredible, Barry said as he approached to take a closer look. It was exactly like in the movies when he plunged his hand into the field. A true-to-life hologram. It took some time to get the hard light interface system to work, but we eventually got something working. The patent paperwork has already been sent to the law office, along with the others we're working on. This is the one I plan to unveil at the Wayne Enterprises meeting, Naruto explained. Can you imagine how much easier your CSI work will be with hard light holographic scanning and projection? It'll make a lot of work easier, remarked Barry. I mean, with this thing, you could essentially replace computers, laptops, tablets, and pretty much everything else that people use to do normal work. I'll stick with my computer, a pad, and a pen. It's old school, but it works for me, Joe said. Fair enough, but this is the future. We're already working on smaller applications like phones and watches. If Palmer Tech can turn a computer into a watch, I'm going to go a step further, Naruto promised. What's that? Joe said, only to see Naruto's smile fade. I have no idea, but I'll let you know when I find out, Naruto said, making everyone laugh. Anyway, once we got this working, it's been making the design and building process a lot easier. Whatever a computer or notepad can do, this thing can do 10 times faster, and it provides a 3D scale model of whatever we're building. We've got some pretty incredible technology designs working up, but the thing I've been wrestling with for a few days is this. Naruto tapped a few keys on the holographic projector, allowing it to access its stored memory files and display numerous scanned pages laden with data and calculations. What exactly are we looking at? Joe was perplexed by what was being displayed. It's some pages from my parents' notebook, Cisco stated. The projector can also scan and store information from anything like a book or a pile of documents, which makes reading a lot easier. Makes Iris Kindle look like a magnifying glass in comparison, Joe said as Barry laughed. You don't have to worry about that yet, Joe. I want to get this into a smaller sized device before we license it out to companies, but that's later. Naruto explained. Anyway, when we turned the Arc Reactor on, I went over all of my parents' old notebooks and I found some interesting hypotheses my mother had on Arc Reactor technology. Like, that thing can power an entire city. What else is there? Barry inquired. That's what I want to figure out, Naruto remarked, taking Barry and Joe off guard. She suspected that the muon energy the reactor generates can not only create energy for power but could possibly be used in synthesizing new elements. She was a biophysicist by training, as well as a molecular biologist, and she figured that the arc reactor energy could help in her research. Most synthetic elements are usually created by manipulating particles in a nuclear reactor or particle accelerator. The arc reactor muon energy is more than powerful enough to rearrange the particles in elements to make something new, and given that it's non-radioactive in nature, it should help in making something different. How the hell do you have the time to come up with this stuff? Joe wondered, truly astonished and astounded by these scientific breakthroughs he had no basis to comprehend. Nonetheless, it was stunning. It helps to have super speed because it makes thinking much easier, and I've had some time on my hands, Naruto replied when they received an alert. Cisco went over to the computer to double-check. Bank robbery on O'Neill Boulevard. Okay, I'll call it in, Joe remarked as he dialed the station on his phone. Right. Barry stepped over to his mannequin to retrieve his suit when he noticed Naruto was stuck in place. Naruto, are you coming? Cisco reminded him, I've got a spare impulse suit in my workshop. Dr. Wells and Caitlin observed Naruto having a slight panic episode based on the trembling of his right hand and his raised heart rate. Barry, why don't you take care of this? Offered Dr. Wells. Yeah, shouldn't be that difficult, she continued. When Barry looked at Naruto, he observed his shaky hand and expression. He understood Naruto was suffering from PTSD. Yeah, I can handle it, Barry said as he hurriedly put on his outfit and sped out of Star Labs. Naruto took a long breath to relax before settling into a chair. It's okay, Naruto, Caitlin comforted him. His PTSD was still present, and while he had taken significant strides toward rehabilitation, it would not resolve itself overnight. XXXXX line break. Naruto was sleeping in his shelter bed, but it wasn't a restful sleep, judging by his tossing and turning. He was repeating Orochimaru's death scene over and over, but that wasn't the most horrifying aspect. The terrifying aspect was what happened next. He saw his reflection. His reflection revealed his right hand and arm dripping blood. His body vibrating at breakneck speed. His eyes were black with scarlet pupils and his lightning had turned blood red. Then his reflection grabbed his neck and pushed him into a wall. He strained to break free, only to have his reflection tighten his grip around his neck. Suddenly, another person appeared next to his reflection. The reverse flash, a vibrating guy in yellow with crimson eyes. You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Guess we have, his demonic reflection muttered before vibrating his palm and driving it into his heart like Orochimaru did. Gasp. Naruto awoke from his nightmare, sweat streaming down his face in astonishment and horror. He took a double take to see where he was, and he was in his shelter room. Kurama was sound sleeping on his plush bed, oblivious to what had occurred. Naruto took a few deep breaths after noticing he was sweating through his shirt, and judging by the moisture on the covers, he wasn't going back to bed anytime soon. His alarm clock read 5:30 a.m., and the sun hadn't yet risen above the horizon. He shifted his weight to the edge of the bed, raking his hands through his spiky hair and wiping the sweat from his brow. Jesus Christ. Talk about my subconscious wanting to torture me. He took a few long breaths to relax before sitting on the floor in a cross-legged position to meditate. Shizune suggested it to aid in his rehabilitation. Deep breaths in and out to quiet his heart and redirect his thoughts. He closed his eyes and attempted to focus himself, breathing slowly and calmly to recover from his little wild nightmare. Find a goal. Find a dream. And don't stop trying. Until it comes true. If a man hasn't discovered something for which he will die, he isn't fit to live, Naruto told himself. Those were his mother's and father's favorite quotes, respectively. Those remarks would live on in his mind and serve as a driving force throughout his life. Even after waking up from a coma, discovering his powers, and becoming a hero, the road to rehabilitation was difficult but not impossible, and he hoped to find himself when he finished. He looked at the time and noticed that it was 5:59 a.m. He wasn't going to sleep much longer, so he might as well get up and start the day. After 1 hour, Tsunade and Shizune completed their morning routines and dressed before leaving their rooms. Tsunade raised her arms above her head to work out the kinks and relieve pain, unintentionally causing her huge breast to bounce. Before picking up Tun, Shizune completed mending his small shirt. They descended the stairs to the ground floor, where they discovered Jiraiya dozing on the couch like an idiot. His head was dangling over the side, and his legs were spread all over the place. Tsunade inquired, "How much longer is that pervert going to be here? You'd think a CIA agent would at the very least not be a slob. But isn't it a good thing that he and Naruto are improving their relationship?" Shizune asked. "I'd just rather they do it somewhere else where I don't have to see his stupid face every morning," Tsunade said. "I love the kid and everything he's done to help us in this place with work and the $1 million donation, but that old man wasn't part of the package deal. Anyway, let's get breakfast and the kids' lunches ready before we deal with that excuse for a man on the couch." "I believe the first part has already been taken care of," Shizune said, pointing to the dining room table, where all 20 youngsters were sitting and eating a wonderful and filling breakfast buffet expertly spread out on the enormous table. Scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, toast, various morning pastries with accompanying jams, jellies, and marmalades, and tall pitchers of apple and orange juice were available. Naruto wore blue pants, a red t-shirt, and a blue button-up over it. Kurama was sitting in the kitchen, eating some bacon, when Naruto came in with 2 plates full of pancakes and waffles. "Alright, guys, eat up. Your day of learning at school will go much better after a full and good breakfast," Naruto stated, setting down the plates and piling some pancakes on them before coating them with syrup. "Oh, morning Tsunade, Shizune." "Morning," exclaimed the child, half of whom had their mouths full of delicious food. "Good morning," Shizune said as he came over to the children and kissed them all on the cheek. "You made breakfast?" Tsunade was surprised when she awoke. "I woke up early, so I figured I'd do something productive, like go grocery shopping so I could make breakfast with their lunches," Naruto said as he proceeded to the kitchen, where 20 lunch bags were lined up. Perfectly crafted sandwiches, chips, fruit, and a specially made cupcake for dessert, with more available on the counter. Tsunade looked around and noticed a half-empty dish of cupcakes with a piping bag of icing next to them. "By the way, I started from scratch. I also have some bread and croissant dough rising for later," Naruto said, pointing to 2 covered bowls on the counter. "When did you learn to bake?" Shizune inquired. "Since this morning. I read over the cookbooks you have, and it wasn't that hard. It's pretty much chemistry," Naruto remarked, strolling up to the coffee machine to pour 2 cups of coffee for Tsunade and Shizune. "I have something special planned for dinner. I'm thinking about taking it up as a hobby because it's not only fun but also delicious." The coffee was wonderful, according to the 2 women. "Wow. This isn't Jitter's coffee," Shizune remarked as Naruto carried Tun into the kitchen next to Kurama to feed him, stuffing some vegetables and sausage into the bowl to provide him with a variety meal. Tun snorted pleasantly and ate his tasty dinner with gusto. "No, it's not. It's a special Italian roast I got from a specialty shop in Manhattan because none of the stores here were open," Naruto stated while assembling plates for his surrogate aunts. "You went to New York for food?" Tsunade asked quietly. "Do I hear you complaining? Because if so, I can take it away, along with the entire closet full of coffee beans that'll last about a year," Naruto proposed. "Never mind," she said, sipping her coffee and taking a seat next to some of the kids at the table. They were all so cheerful, and it made her grin. When they heard the doorbell, she kissed one of the girls on the cheek as Naruto headed over with their plates. "Who's that?" Shizune inquired. "Oh, that's probably Dr. Wells, Caitlin, Cisco, and the others. I hope they don't mind if I invite them to breakfast?" "Sure. The more the merrier, but I'm not doing the dishes," Tsunade stated flatly. "Relax. That'd be torture for anyone who isn't me. I'll do it. It'll only take a few seconds anyway." Naruto walked over and opened the door, where Dr. Wells, Cisco, Caitlin, Barry, Joe, and Linda, as well as Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari, were waiting. "Good morning, guys. I'm glad you could make it." "Of course, thank you for inviting us," Caitlin replied, hugging and kissing him on the cheek as they all stepped in one by one, smelling the great cuisine. "It smells good in here," Joe said after hugging Naruto and seeing the table piled high with food and smiling children. "Of course, were you expecting anything less than amazing?" Naruto joked before kissing Linda and cuddling Barry. "You've outdone yourself, Naruto," Barry replied as he removed his jacket. "Thank you for inviting us again, Naruto," Gaara remarked. "I apologize for any inconvenience." "Don't even go there, Gaara, because it wasn't. With everything that's been going on, a little peace and quiet will help," Naruto assured him as they walked in, closing the door behind them. "Believe me, I should know. All of this helps, as does having friends and family nearby." "Thank you," Gaara said, and Naruto returned the smile. "Now, grab a plate and eat up. Don't worry, there's plenty, so eat until your stomach bursts," Naruto said as they all sat at the table with plates and ate. It was a fun and noisy occasion that felt like something out of a family drama at times. The section where everyone gathers for a moment of calm and enjoyment. The youngsters finished about a half hour into the meal, just as the school bus came, so they were hustled away with their lunch bags. It was a little simpler once they were gone since Naruto, Barry, Linda, and Gaara could use their powers. It also helped that they left right after Jiraiya awoke. Everyone had eaten their full and were content, so Naruto quickly washed the dishes and hurried back into his chair with a fresh pot of coffee in hand. "Anyone want another cup?" "I'll get some of that to go if I can," Joe remarked as Naruto dashed away, only to return with the thermos. "Thank you. I'll tell you what, this Italian roast gives jitters a run for its money." "Don't tell Iris," Barry jokingly said. "Seriously, Naruto, that was incredible. You'd think with quantity, flavor would suffer, but that wasn't the case." "Well, I guess I can add chef to my growing list of talents, and that reminds me, I have dinner planned for tonight as well, so all of you are coming," Naruto said. Dr. Wells sipped his coffee and said, "We'll be there." "You appear to be doing better, kid," Jiraiya observed as he ran his free hand through his bed hair. "Well, it's certainly better than how I started this morning," he said quietly, sipping his coffee and enjoying the warmth it provided. "Nightmares?" Gaara inquired, and Naruto agreed. "Yeah, me, too. They're not much fun. Tell me about it," Jiraiya continued. "They'll take some time to fade, but they will. Stick with your recovery, both of you, and they'll fade. Rome wasn't rebuilt in a day, and the mind is far more complex, but it will heal like everything else." Tsunade observed, "Huh, guess you can be a caring godfather when you want to be." "I can be a lot more to you if you'd like," Jiraiya winked, only for Tsunade to smash him on the head, and his corpse thudded to the ground. Naruto remarked, "And he's back. Anyway, he better get up off the floor because he's accompanying us to City Hall to meet with the City Council and the Mayor, and he's acting as our security escort." Jiraiya wheezed from his location on the ground, "I'll be fine. Just give me a minute." "So, exactly what does it take to fuel a city with unlimited energy?" Kankuro inquired. "Well, we have the power source. The only thing left is to distribute that energy, which Cisco and I have already done. We've set up power lines to run straight from the Arc Reactor into the transmission lines Star Labs used when it was still on the city's power grid. We're essentially going to be sending out electricity to the power plant instead of receiving it, and from there it'll flow like it normally does, except it comes from Star Labs instead of wherever it used to come from. Cheers to that, Cisco said as he clinked his coffee mug with Naruto's. Does it really cost $800 million per year to power an entire city? Temari inquired. Well, that's a conservative number, but pretty close. Probably more for cities like Los Angeles or New York, and the best part is that our energy is constant and free-flowing. The only real problem would be if something happened at the power plant to stop the flow of electricity, but we'll make sure that doesn't happen, Naruto said as he raised his coffee mug. I'd like to propose a toast. To my friends and family, who will be remembered for ushering in a new era. Today, we make history. Cheers, everyone clapped their hands. Before the others left, there was some more conversation and packing of leftovers and coffee. Naruto changed into his poshest business suit for the meeting. He wore black business shoes and a blue Hemsworth suit and pant combination with a navy striped tie and navy pocket square. The attire was completed by a little briefcase with the legal papers and files, and he looked like a businessman. Except for his spiky blonde hair, which he wasn't combing or cutting at all. Cisco, Caitlin, and Dr. Wells were dressed formally, as was Jiraiya, who was carrying a pistol and a knife in case things went wrong. They drove the Star Labs van to City Hall for the meeting with the mayor and city council. They parked and made their way to the building, where a swarm of media awaited them. Reporters and protesters gathered to discuss the Arc Reactor and the growth of science in general. They were the creationist groups, and the majority of them were the same activists who had opposed the particle accelerator's development. People would gather to protest whenever a scientific breakthrough helped to transform the world. Jiraiya led the way, keeping them at bay so Naruto, Cisco, and Caitlin could assist Dr. Wells in making his way up to the entryway. All Naruto said was, "No comment," or, "I'll talk after the meeting." Once inside, they met with Greg Turk, an attorney from Weathersby and Stone who was representing Star Labs legally at the meeting. "Mr. Turk," Naruto said, shaking Greg's hand. "Mr. Namikaze, Dr. Wells, you're right on time," Greg said as a receptionist approached them. "Mr. Namikaze, Dr. Wells, welcome to City Hall. If you'll follow me, I'll escort you to your meeting room." She took them through City Hall to the meeting room. They entered the private meeting room, which featured a large round table and a little side table with a coffee maker and bagels. "This is your meeting room. There's coffee and bagels on the table. The mayor and city council will be here in a moment." Dr. Wells said as she walked away, "Thank you. This is nice," Cisco exclaimed as he looked around the room. "We are certainly moving up in the world." Dr. Wells reminded him, "We are Cisco, but this is also important, so let's be on our best behavior today. Don't worry about me. I'll keep my mouth shut. I'm only here for moral support," Cisco told Naruto. "Thank you again, Cisco," Naruto said, opening his collar slightly to breathe. He was quite nervous. "Phew, I guess I'm still nervous. Is it hot in here, or is it just me?" "Does this happen to the kid very often?" Jiraiya inquired of Caitlin. "You should have seen him during the press conference." "Alright, what's the plan for today again?" Naruto inquired, thoroughly overloaded to the point of forgetting simple tasks. "It's fairly simple, Mr. Namikaze. All the paperwork is completed, and once they confirm everything, they'll ask any questions they have and bring up any last points. Once everything is completed, we'll head to the power plant with the mayor and the council for the energy transfer to the city. There will probably be press and interviews there, so brace yourself," Mr. Turk explained. "Alright, okay. I'll handle everything at the power plant while Dr. Wells and Cisco go back to Star Labs to keep an eye on everything on that end," Naruto added. When they heard the door open, Mr. Turk said, "That's fine. God willing, in a few hours, Star Labs will be providing power to all of Central City. This is a momentous day."
Which is why it's a good thing we're here as well, they heard when a group other than the mayor and municipal council entered. An elderly man in a high-power business suit, reeking of old money, led the gathering. Following him was a young woman around Naruto's age dressed in a very fancy and costly business suit, followed by a team of lawyers carrying briefcases. Naruto couldn't identify them at first, but Jiraiya did and approached his godson.
He said quietly, "That's Blake Carrington, CEO of Carrington Atlantic." "What the hell is he doing here?" wondered Naruto. Dr. Wells informed them, "We're about to find out." "Excuse me, gentlemen, but this is a private meeting, and I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave before I contact security," stated Mr. Turk. "That's fine. We're actually here to meet you," Mr. Carrington said. "That's not possible. We have a meeting with the mayor at 9 a.m., said Mr. Turk. "Which has been pushed back to 9:30 so that we can talk. It took some convincing," but the mayor was willing to let us speak privately for 30 minutes, the woman explained. You said you wanted this meeting, but that doesn't mean we have to stay until you tell me who you are and what you want, Naruto explained.
You like to get to the point, and I like that. Allow me to introduce myself. Blake Carrington, CEO of Carrington Atlantic. The CEO came over to Naruto and reached out his hand, only to be met with a sour look and a shakeout of politeness. This is my daughter, Fallon, our head of acquisitions, so, you are the famous young scientist whose breakthroughs have enthralled the entire world. When I was made aware of your achievements, I must admit you were not at all what I was expecting.
And what exactly were you expecting, Mr. Carrington? Naruto inquired, remaining as objective and emotionless as possible. Someone a little older, said the old money patriarch. Come on, Daddy, you know what they say about genius and youth, Fallon said. Fair enough, but seeing someone as young as you co-own a research lab and make new breakthroughs is quite remarkable. Naruto said, thank you, Mr. Carrington. But, if possible, can we just skip all the formalities and get to the point of why you're here and why you pushed our meeting with the mayor back by half an hour? Certainly, Blake Carrington said as he strolled around to the other side of the table with his legal team, who immediately began pulling dockets and files. We've been expanding beyond our typical points of oil and power into technology-related areas, which is why we're here, says Carrington Atlantic. Fallon proposed, Carrington Atlantic would like to make a bid to purchase Star Labs. Do you want to buy Star Labs? Cisco inquired. Acquire it. Carrington Atlantic would like to make a bid for the company's controlling rights, Fallon reminded him. We've already drawn up contracts and legal paperwork for the purchase, and once the company is under the Carrington Atlantic brand, you would all have positions in the company under our employment. The Carrington attorneys handed them the contracts to read over. Mr. Turk and the others began reading as quickly as they could, but Naruto and Dr. Wells were the only two who didn't touch them. In other words, Naruto stated flatly, you want our Arc Reactor technology. The Arc Reactor technology is part of it, but the other advancements, inventions, and patents you've submitted are also things to be considered, Fallon explained as best she could. I think we can cut the business jargon and put it in layman's terms because it's pretty simple. I don't know your father's face, but I know of him, and the only reason a conservative old money oil and power tycoon would ever buy a science firm like Star Labs is because it has something he wants, Naruto stated flatly. And, given that Carrington Atlantic deals in power and energy, primarily oil and natural gas, he wants to eliminate competition by developing a new renewable and vastly more powerful source. Mr. Carrington told him, I believe Fallon was correct about you, Mr. Namikaze, you are much wiser than your years. I prefer Naruto, and considering most 23-year-olds are still figuring out their life plans and dealing with student debt, I'll take that as a compliment, Naruto added. But it makes the most sense. Given the drama and PR nightmare you received from the fracking business in Atlanta, you're looking for something to weather the tides and bolster your stocks. You want that to be Star Labs. You've made great strides forward, so Carrington Atlantic would like to assist you by providing you with a larger platform to operate on, Fallon remarked. Mr. Carrington replied as Mr. Turk presented Naruto and Dr. Wells the suggested $5 billion deal. Naruto took the document and carefully examined it before shutting it and pushing it away. I'm sorry, Mr. Carrington, Naruto said, but I have no intention of selling Star Labs to anyone. I'm sure we can come to a different arrangement if the agreed amount is not to your liking, one of Carrington's lawyers stated. I don't care how much money you offer, whether it's 50 billion or 100 billion, because I'm not selling at all, Naruto explained. The Scientific and Technological Advanced Research Lab was built to help the world and advance the cause of science, not to make you rich, he says. Star Labs belong to Dr. Wells and me, and they will remain that way. Mr. Carrington said, Dr. Wells, perhaps you would like a moment to talk to your young protege in private so you can help him see the benefits of this transaction. Naruto is wiser than his years, and unfortunately for you, we're on the same page on this. Star Labs is not for sale, Dr. Wells stated. Star Labs is a privately owned company with all shares divided between myself and Naruto here, and neither of us intends to sell to anyone in the future. As Naruto put it, Star Labs is here to help the world, and we'll do it on our own. Naruto smiled at Dr. Wells, and when he watched Blake Carrington's countenance change, he grinned even more. I'm sorry you wasted your trip to Central City, but perhaps calling ahead or sending an email next time would be a better option, Naruto remarked with a smile, while Mr. Carrington just stared at him. We have nothing else to discuss right now, so if you don't mind leaving, we have our meeting with the mayor. Blake Carrington grimaced and grumbled as he stood up to leave. I respect your attitude, kid, but I intend to keep that company, And I always get what I want. Naruto gave him a gentle look before clearing his throat. Normally, I'd be intimidated by a powerful businessman's scary threats, but I'm not the same person I was a year ago, and I don't scare that easily anymore. There's no way Star Labs is going anywhere as long as I'm alive and have a say in it. Luckily for us, the Arc Reactor is only one part of the work we're doing, and unlike fossil fuels or natural gases, my ideas won't run out anytime soon. We'll see, Blake Carrington cautioned, but Naruto wasn't about to listen to him. Mr. Carrington, one last thing before you leave. When I'm ready to build another Arc Reactor, it'll be in Atlanta next to your building, and I'll be making an offer for your company soon enough. See you then. Blake glared at him before walking away. Before they all left, Fallon gave Naruto a wink of approval. Naruto exhaled a sigh of relaxation and smiled. That was awesome, Cisco said. Jiraiya complimented him, saying, nicely done, kid. Your parents would be proud, and seeing a smug jaghole grimace like that is always a good day in my book. They would be as proud as I am, Dr. Wells told him. A part of me wants to lecture you for threatening him, but I'll put that aside because I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself, Caitlin continued. I'm surprised they even showed up here. It's not surprising because Carrington Atlantic provides half of Central City's power, and with the Arc Reactor going online today, they saw it as their chance to stop us from ruining their future, Dr. Wells explained. Well, too bad for Blake Carrington that he failed. I'm never selling. Now, let's get down to business, Naruto remarked as the mayor and the council arrived. After 2 hours, the talks between Star Labs and Central City representatives were concluded after some deliberation, question responding, and science explanation. The reason it took so long was simply answering the mayor's questions and describing how everything would function and what changes would need to be implemented, but not much would change. The personnel at the power plant would essentially be doing the same thing, monitoring the energy flow and keeping an eye out for anything unusual while Star Laboratories supplied the energy. Once the questions were answered, the mayor, city council, and Naruto would proceed to the power plant, while Cisco and Dr. Wells would return to Star Laboratories to watch things and restart the reactor. After they left City Hall, the mayor held a brief press conference to explain what was going on. Jiraiya observed Fallon Carrington and a hefty man, probably her driver, heading up to them as Naruto and his party made their way down to the sidewalk as the mayor spoke, so he moved his hand to his gun just to be safe. Naruto turned to see Fallon approaching him. Is there anything I can do for you, Ms. Carrington? I just wanted to say that I enjoyed your little business scuffle with my father in the conference room. Any chance I get to see him uncomfortable and stewing in his losses is prized in a dysfunctional family photo album. You're welcome, Naruto responded. With all due respect, I can't help but wonder if your presence here has a hidden agenda. Fallon gave him her business card with a smile. Remember me whenever you want to talk, or if you're ready to bring down my father, I'll be happy to help. Naruto examined the business card, but noticed her personal phone number was scrawled in ink. Duly noted, Ms. Carrington, she says, but I'm in a fully committed and happy relationship. Really, what's that like? She jokingly asked. Give me a call sometime, whether it's for business or not. Before she and her security went, she winked at him. Naruto took a second look at her business card before presenting it to Caitlin. Do with it what you will. If you think we should keep it, fine. If you think we should trash it, fine. I couldn't care less. Good move, Caitlin said as she ripped the card into fours and tossed it in the trash. When I tell Linda this, she'll be overjoyed. Duly noted. All right, Cisco, how about you and Dr. Wells head back to Star Labs right now and get everything ready? Caitlin and I will head to the power plant and let you know when we're ready, Naruto stated. Roger that, Captain, Cisco said as he walked over to the van to retrieve a bag of supplies. He handed it to Naruto before assisting Dr. Wells into the van and returning to Star Labs. Naruto, Caitlin, and Jiraiya rode to the power plant with the mayor and city council. A swarm of reporters followed them wherever they went. Naruto wanted to keep them away for their own safety, but the mayor was intent on having a wonderful media day, so he let him have it, either out of respect or simply because he didn't care. Naruto pulled his laptop from his bag and turned it on before plugging it into the main terminal. He gave one of the technicians an energy output reader to install before giving another a Nexus router to install. The Nexus router would allow Star Laboratories to remotely monitor everything in case something went wrong. Jiraiya assisted with installation, while Caitlin rapidly distributed the updated manuals to all techs. Caitlin had her tablet connected to the Star Lab server, while Naruto sat at the main control console for the entire power plant with his laptop hooked up and connected. Naruto typed away at the main console, preparing to disconnect the electrical grid from its main power source in order to receive the influx of energy from Star Laboratories. He dialed Star Labs using his Bluetooth earpiece. "Alright, we're all set up on this end. Cisco, Dr. Wells, how's everything at home base?" Back at Star Labs, Cisco and Dr. Wells sat at the cortical computer monitors, ready to start remote control of the Arc Reactor. "Everything is fine on our end, Red Leader. We'll be ready when you are," Cisco said. Naruto retorted, "Roger that, Red 5. Dr. Wells, could you please confirm that we can begin?" Dr. Wells performed some last-minute triple checks to ensure that everything was in order, and it was. He noticed the enormous circular reactor flashing a wonderful cyan blue color when he peered at the security camera in the reactor chamber. 1. "Yes, we are ready, and you may proceed," Dr. Wells said. "Roger that." Naruto put a few commands onto his laptop and began shutting down elements of the distribution grid that got electricity from sources outside of Central City. That was from major energy firms, but it won't be for long. Increase the Arc Reactor input by 15%. Increasing. Cisco raised the reaction in the Arc Reactor to 15%. Nothing visible appeared to happen, yet energy from the reactor began to flow from the transmission lines to the power plant. The plant's main console notified him to the incoming energy, so he channeled it through the power plant's connections to the electrical generator, where it began generating electrical energy. Once the electrical energy was generated, it was distributed through the conventional channels of power and transmission lines, as well as pooling at substations, where at 15% energy output and generating 207,000 volts of energy. "How much is that?" Caitlin inquired, her tablet in hand. "That's about 12 office buildings worth of power," Naruto added. "Keep in mind that's a rough estimate, not taking into account size and tenant density." When the city council, mayor, and engineers heard this, they were astounded. "Any problems?" "No, we're fine," Caitlin assured him. "According to the technicians, everything is in the green zone, with no signs of energy feedback or electrical surges," Jiraiya continued. "Okay, let's bump it up to 25%, Naruto remarked. Cisco obeyed, and the light from the reactor became somewhat brighter. More of the outsourcing distribution grid was shut down as more energy poured in from Star Laboratories. More Star Lab energy was pumped into the generator, which was then delivered to the city. Caitlin told him, 25% and we're still looking great. "Excellent," Naruto said. "Is there any way to speed this up?" one of the council members inquired. "Patience, Councilman Gorb. Something like this is best not to rush. I'd rather take it slow and steady so we can monitor any kind of issues or mechanical failures. I'd hate to overload the power plant and risk a city-wide blackout." Naruto explained, double-checking everything, and they were still doing great. "Alright, let's move it to 50%. When the monitors and terminals reacted with a little warning, Naruto completed his job by increasing the power of the Arc Reactor to 50%. "What was that?" Jiraiya inquired. "Sorry, that was my fault. A little slow on the energy routing, but no problem now," Naruto said, covering his buttocks and immediately resolving the minor issue. Caitlin questioned, "You were too slow?" "Yes, I was too slow, haha. Let's move on," Naruto replied as everyone laughed. "Okay, we're at 50% Arc Reactor power and are distributing it to half of the city, increased to 70%. "Increasing," Cisco replied, intensifying the reaction and causing the reactor to produce additional energy. Its glow was greater than before, but all of their scans and readings showed that the reactor was working correctly and that no problems had arisen. "Arc Reactor at 70% efficiency, and we're all good here. How's it going?" "We're still fine. The electrical generator is running and distributing energy throughout the city smoothly," Naruto responded, checking his laptop and seeing that the energy levels were ideal and perfect. "It appears that things are reading well. We're on our way." Dr. Wells stated, "That we are. Is everything ready to bring it back up to 100%? "I believe so. Let's give it a shot. Increase Arc Reactor reaction to 100%, Naruto urged, and Cisco did. The cyan blue brilliance of the Arc Reactor charged up to 100% efficiency, and the humming from the reactor was like music to the ear. Naruto double-checked everything on his end to ensure that the energy buildup was appropriately dispersed across the grid and that nothing was overburdened. The quantity of energy released by the Arc Reactor may quickly overload the power station. "How's everything going?" inquired the mayor. "1 second. Naruto fiddled with the control console before moving the chair over to examine the output readers, which were all at 100% and reading green. He then returned to check the laptop, and the Arc Reactor purred like a kitten. "Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. City Council members of Central City, your city is the first to go green. There was a brief moment of silence before the mayor, city council, reporters, and technicians all applauded. Caitlin raced up to hug Naruto, who returned her hug with vigor. Jiraiya also joined in, pulling them both off the ground before kissing his godson on the cheek. Jiraiya told him, "Your parents would be so proud of you right now." "I'm sure they would," Dr. Wells remarked. Naruto smiled, believing that this was the moment his future would take off, just as the mayor and city council joined them in a joyous hug and photo session. Naruto had a big day today. XXXXX line break at 12 p.m. News and images of the Arc Reactor finally going online and giving power to the entire city began to circulate across the city and, indeed, the entire country. To say it caused a commotion would be an understatement, as it made national and international news. The first metropolis to be powered entirely by a single corporation using a green, renewable energy source would be a watershed moment in human history. Every news station worth its salt covered the story, every scientist weighed in, and the CEOs of the world's energy and oil companies had some choice words to say. With Star Labs' historic success, magazines rushed to designate them as future pioneers, putting Star Labs back in its due place as the firm of tomorrow. Cheers. Beer bottles clattered together in a bar, restaurant. Naruto, Jiraiya, Caitlin, Cisco, Dr. Wells, Barry, Joe, Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari gathered in the bar to toast this historic decision. Even though it was barely lunchtime, there was reason to rejoice. "I can't believe it worked and here we are," Naruto said, as everyone smiled. "What were you actually doubting about yourself?" Barry inquired. "Any sane person has some trepidation, and I guess this was mine," Naruto said. "However, I never thought I'd live to see the day that Central City, of all places, goes green, and I'm curious what this means for my energy bills," Joe pondered. "Unless you intend to install a massive tanning bed and movie theater in your backyard, you should be fine, Joe. I can't actually believe it's working, and the proof is right here," Naruto said, motioning to the bar restaurant they were in, where all the lights were turned on and the TVs were working as if nothing had happened. "Things were running smoothly down at the station when we left," Barry said. "And everything from our side is reading good. We are living historical markers, and I like it," Cisco added as he sipped his beer. Linda and Iris entered the bar through the open doors. They ran over when they noticed the gang at the bar, with Linda leaping into Naruto's arms. "I'm so proud of you. You accomplished your goal, and everyone is talking about you and Star Labs." Which makes it all the more unfortunate that Linda will be getting the exclusives for the foreseeable future, Iris said as she hugged Naruto. "Don't worry, Iris. Even though I'm terrified of all the press that will follow me in the future, I intend to be fair to all reporters looking for a story, which includes you as well," Naruto informed her. "Don't you think I have the best boyfriend in the world?" Linda remarked, kissing him quickly, "and I knew him before he was rich and famous." "That's what you did. Weren't you lucky to trip and fall right into my arms that day at Jitters?" Naruto remarked. "Oh, very funny, like you didn't see that coffee spill ahead of time and didn't warn me just to sweep me up in your arms," Linda remarked. "I'll admit nothing except that I'm glad I met you that day," Naruto said, giving her another short kiss. "All right, I know it's only noon, but we're celebrating, and one beer won't affect you for the rest of the day, so please, bartender, can we get 2 more? Well, I'm all for celebrating, and it's fun to see how normal people celebrate after getting a raise at work or a new car. Perhaps some Dom Perignon is more appropriate for these festivities." They heard and turned to see Fallon Carrington in the bar with her driver holding a crate of Dom Perignon champagne bottles. "Excuse me, bartender. Champagne glasses, please." Naruto inquired, "Ms. Carrington, what are you doing here?" "Oh, please just call me Fallon. Ms. Carrington makes me seem so old and reminds me of my mother, both of which are terrible ideas, so let's just stick with Fallon," she remarked with a smile. "I apologize for interrupting your small celebration, but I wanted to bring something to your small gathering." "Who are you?" inquired Barry. "This is Fallon Carrington from Carrington Atlantic," Iris introduced him. "Her family's business is frequently mentioned in the press. And given my father, I'm sure for very good reasons, but not me. I'm here to help celebrate. Any day I can see my dad down 5 glasses of scotch as he watches his stock prices drop because a young scientist who wasn't afraid of him is a good day in my book," Fallon explained. "How did you even know we were here?" Naruto said, holding up her phone to display an Instagram image of the group rejoicing. "You're top trending news now. You might want to get used to people and paparazzi stalking you on a daily basis, like I have. It does wonders for your development, but lucky for you, You get to deal with it at this age rather than the pivotal years of childhood development, so you don't have to worry about it affecting you, Fallon said as the bartender placed the champagne glasses on the bar. She picked up a bottle and handed it to Naruto. To your great victory today, and for many more to come. Thank you, Fallon, but you didn't have to do this. Oh please, as I said, it was my pleasure, Fallon remarked, beaming at Linda. Is this the lucky girlfriend you mentioned having a committed and happy relationship with? Linda Park introduced herself, shaking Fallon's hand out of politeness. It's a pleasure to meet you, but as someone who's dated in the public eye, paparazzi can smell a scandal a mile away, so prepare yourself, Fallon advised. I'm a sports journalist. I've already prepared thick skin, Linda said, and Fallon chuckled. Fallon remarked, oh, tough and pretty, you got lucky. Naruto kissed Linda on the cheek and said, thank you. I'm sorry, Fallon, the champagne was very kind, and thank you very much for your congratulations, but like outside City Hall, I can't help but feel that you have an ulterior motive. That's a good feeling, and it's a good thing because you're going to need it. Besides dropping off the congratulatory champagne and all the positive energy I can muster, which isn't much, I'm hoping to stay on your good side, Fallon admitted, which caught Naruto off guard but seemed to be telling the truth based on her facial expressions. Well, call me old-fashioned but I like to abide by the elementary school proverb of treat people like you would like to be treated. So, in that case everyone I meet is given a clean slate unless something happens like your father threatening me. That obviously puts him on my bad side but at the moment you're still in the positive. I mean, all you've done is being mildly flirty but yet again, I'm happy in a relationship. Naruto replied with a smile. Oh, it appears that both of you are lucky in this relationship, Fallon responded. And thank you for saving any negative opinion you might have had about me. I personally believe that everyone deserves to be judged after I get to know them, but this is my curiosity speaking as to why you want to stay on my good side, Naruto added, making Fallon laugh. Aside from agitating my father, you've essentially changed the landscape of power on the planet, and I mean that quite literally, Fallon said. Like you said, fossil fuel sources and pretty much every other way Carrington Atlantic gets its energy have an expiration date. Despite my previous comments on Silicon Valley nerds, your technology isn't a stupid app or website but something actually worthwhile. Your little science generator is powering this entire city as we speak when it used to take the combined electrical energy generated by 6 separate electrical grids from 2 separate power plants. Well, it's all patented, and even their best scientists can't come up with workarounds for the Arc Reactor, Naruto explained. However, today you've stopped being just a research lab, and if your promise at City Hall is any indication that you have a lot up your sleeve, then you're going to turn into a business faster than you realize. The business world is filled with sharks, and they'll start circling soon, including my father. You may have sworn never to sell to him, but that doesn't mean he won't do anything in his power to take you down. He can do whatever he wants, but Star Labs isn't going away, he assured her. Still, as the start of a potential business partnership and something to keep in mind when you take on my father, allow me to give you some advice. Science may be about helping mankind, but businessmen like my father only help themselves and will go through anyone to get what they want. Case in point, word has reached this daughter's ear that my father is scheduling to crash your meeting in Gotham City with Wayne Enterprises to stop Star Labs from expanding. Okay, so he told me that's what we were doing before he left. Even if he interrupts Naruto's meeting with Wayne Enterprises, other companies will want to talk to him, Jiraiya observed. True, but the first one is the most important because it sets a precedent, and my father has enough clout in the business world to make finding another partner much, much harder. He's going to take you out before you can even start, so don't let him, Fallon said. Thank you, Fallon, Naruto said, reaching out his hand for her to shake. Thank you, and if you do make a bid for Carrington Atlantic, please keep me in mind. She went into her purse and handed him another business card. I had a feeling you threw the other one away, but given that your girlfriend was present, hopefully you'll keep it this time. Fallon and her driver left, and while she gave Naruto a beautiful gift, she also left him with a lot to think about. Her unintentional meeting took up some time, so the celebration would have to wait until tonight at Naruto's supper for everyone at the shelter. He even had Barry invite Ino, and Joe was free to invite Iris and Eddie as long as everyone kept their powers hidden. He was greeted with a hurrah hurrah by Tsunade and Shizune when he returned home from school, but he had a lot on his mind. Fortunately, he kept his thoughts occupied by preparing dinner. Around 6 p.m., dinner was almost ready, so Naruto sat in the living room waiting for some items to finish. He was still dressed in his work suit from the morning, without the tie, jacket, and long sleeves rolled up. He was sitting on the couch, reading news items on his iPad about his Arc Reactor and business comments about it, while also researching Blake Carrington and other CEOs like him. After speed reading practically everything, he set his iPad down and took out the business card Fallon had given him, this time without her personal phone number. He just stared at it, thinking about everything that was going to happen in the future. "Something on your mind, kid?" Jiraiya stepped over, still dressed in his business suit from the morning but a little looser and clutching a beer in one hand. "If you plan on calling Fallon for a threesome, just a warning, in most scenarios the women tend to gang up on the man. If you see handcuffs or rope, you might want to run away. I wouldn't, but I'm used to it. If I were you, I'd just dip my toe in the pool." Jiraiya joked, only to see Naruto give a half-hearted quick smile before adopting his serious yet concerned face. "Only a half-hearted smile. Something must be bothering you. What's going on?" "Nothing. It's just what Fallon said earlier, I guess it's getting to me," Naruto acknowledged. "Hey, if this is about Blake Carrington, then we can go all metahuman on his ass," Jiraiya informed him. "And I've got some people at the CIA. Some friends who owe me a favor who could get some dirt on him. If he thinks he can mess with you, he's in for a surprise." "No, it's not something I'm concerned about. Honestly, after everything I've been through since I got my powers, that, along with seeing my mother's infamous rage moments or when Tsunade gets extra irritated and starts cracking her knuckles, that trumps everything," Naruto said. "Yeah, your mom had that unusual ability to go from kind to her crazy habanero tomato fury in a second, though calling her that probably starts her fury," Jiraiya recalled. "Although when Tsunade gets irritated, it's very sexy." Naruto remarked, "Ew, I'm going to need an earworm of a song to get that out of my head." "Yeah, well, we all have our types," Jiraiya responded, noticing Naruto's anxiety. "Seriously, kid, what's up?" "It's just, is this really what I want Star Labs to become?" Naruto pondered. Fallon was correct in one respect. Star Labs will not remain Star Labs for much longer. "I figured that's what you wanted. Dr. Wells told me about your proposed plans to build a secondary site in the city, a sort of Star Labs tower," Jiraiya suggested. "No, what I mean is, am I really prepared for everything that comes with turning Star Labs into a legitimate business?" Naruto inquired. "The scrutiny, dealing with company CEOs, brown-nosing stockholders, intimidating my competition, or simply buying them out to gain the edge, not to mention how much harder I'll have to work to keep my super speeding under wraps. But how long before I turn into the next Blake Carrington, or worse?" "Well, if you're going to be the next Blake Carrington, can you buy me a mansion like him? I mean, it's really nice. I saw it on Architectural Digest," Jiraiya teased, making Naruto chuckle. "There he is." "I'm serious, Jiraiya. People like Blake Carrington and all those powerful CEOs have years of experience and actual education in how to run businesses like empires. In fact, I believe some companies are run like defunct former dynasties or regimes. I'm just a scientist from Central City. What chance do I have?" "Dr. Wells and your parents found everything perfectly when they started Star Labs years ago," Jiraiya stated. "True, but they didn't expand it into business terrain like I did," Naruto admitted, understanding his decisions to strengthen Star Labs were to blame. He is his biggest enemy. "I screwed up. Perhaps this is too much for just me and Dr. Wells. Getting a business perspective might be a good idea." "Hold on and hold the unnecessary melodrama," Jiraiya said. "It's not melodrama. Just some self-doubt at a critical juncture," Naruto corrected. Jiraiya stated flatly, "Whatever you call it, you can trash it. Look, you didn't do it to make money or build an empire. You did it to change the world, so keep doing it. People like Carrington only know how to destroy, so start building and leaving your own legacy." Naruto reminded him, "Yeah, but I have no idea how to run a massive company." "Then it's a good thing you'll have help from Dr. Wells. And why is that a bad thing? Perhaps the reason the business world appears so horrible is because businessmen rule it. You're a scientist, you solve problems for a living. So, look at this as a problem, and the answer to that problem is simple. Don't be like them. If you try to be like them, you'll only fail. Just be the you that I know you can be, and corporate governments? That sounds like a dystopian future to me, but thanks, Jiraiya. Guess I just needed some words of encouragement. You know, you're really getting a handle on this whole Godfather thing." "Thank you, kid," Jiraiya said as he heard a ringing from the kitchen. "That would be the ice cream that had finished churning," Naruto said as he rose from the couch and walked over to the kitchen to resume his work. "You're making homemade ice cream for dessert? Man, do I have the best godson or what?" Jiraiya said as he sipped his beer. Because dinner was at 7, Folks began to arrive at 6:30. Linda, Dr. Wells, Cisco, Caitlin, Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari arrived first and assisted in setting up a larger dinner table with plates and cutlery. Barry and Ino arrived soon after, dressed nicely, to find the apartment decorated out for a party. "Wow, Naruto is really going all out for this," Ino exclaimed. When Ino noticed Gaara, Barry remarked, "Well, there's a lot of cause to celebrate." Gaara. Ino ran over and hugged him. Before hugging back, the sand metahuman was frozen in shock. "It's great to see you and your siblings. I had no idea you were back in Central City. I've been hanging out with Naruto, and he's offered me a job at Star Labs." "That's fantastic. Now that you're back, we'll be able to hang out a lot more," Ino said, hugging him again. "There's a lot we need to catch up on." Gaara said quietly, "You have no idea." Temari asked, "Ino, why don't you help me get the drinks?" "Sure thing," Ino replied as she followed her into the kitchen to find Naruto plating meals. "So, Gaara, what job are you offering, and is there any chance I'll get one?" "Well, I'm still working on that," Naruto said, "but I'm thinking human resources, and maybe Star Labs will instead donate funds to the conservatory for research, possibly working on new crops and plants for the future." "That sounds good to me," Ino said as Temari opened a bottle of champagne and started pouring it into glasses. That's when Ino discovered the Dom Perignon container on the kitchen counter. "Whoa, you splurged tonight, didn't you?" "Those were given to me as a gift by Fallon Carrington," Naruto stated. "Fallon Carrington, as in spoiled rich heiress Fallon Carrington? Are they actually a gift or a threat?" Ino inquired. "Honestly, I'm not sure, but I think it was a gift. Time will tell if she's sincere about wanting to help," Naruto said as Jiraiya entered. "Kid, Joe's here with Iris and her boyfriend." "Okay, fill the rest of those glasses. I'd like to make a toast," Naruto stated as Jiraiya assisted. Joe, Iris, and Eddie were the last to arrive for dinner. Eddie and Iris were overjoyed to get the dinner invitation. Even if they understood the least about Naruto, it was good to be included. They noticed the enormous round dining table, which had ample place for not only Naruto's pals, but also the children who were already seated. There were bowls and plates of food on the table. Numerous bowls of salad, 2 loaves of freshly made French bread, 2 bowls of risotto, a pan of lasagna supplied by Linda, roasted Brussels sprouts, carrots, and other vegetables, and numerous bowls of mashed potatoes rounded out the meal. "Geez, Naruto, how much food is he making?" Iris inquired. "He has a bit of a fast metabolism," Linda said as Naruto entered the room with a large plate of steamy and crispy handmade porchetta roast and Jiraiya following close behind with a large roasted chicken. "A big metabolism. I know it seems like a lot, but I figured having chicken would be a good alternative for those who don't eat pork, and there are plenty of vegetables for those who don't eat meat," Naruto explained as he placed the meat on the table to applause. "Thank you all for your applause and for coming tonight for this celebratory meal. I'd like to say a few words before we begin eating." Ino and Temari entered with the champagne glasses and handed them out to all of the adults, while the children were given soda or juice. "It's Dom Perignon that was given to me as a gift, and if Linda hasn't claimed all of the bottles by the end of the night, then please help yourself." "Yeah. Anyway," Naruto said, "today has been a momentous marker for Star Labs, and honestly, I think all of you must be annoyed at how many times I've said momentous." They all laughed. "I've had some time to think about what happened today and what it means for our future. I could go into detail, but I'll keep it simple. Whatever direction Star Labs ends up heading after today and for the foreseeable future, it will still be run by the same people who have become family. And so long as we stick together, I think we have a chance to make something truly amazing." To family, everyone raises their glasses and cheers their drinks. To family, the kids added, making them laugh. "All right, now let's eat," Naruto said as everyone took their seats and began the feast put out before them. It was one thing to change the world. But these small moments were also important. April 2015 Star Labs in Central City. Naruto was preparing the rest of his work tools and technology for his trip to Gotham. It was time for his meeting with Bruce Wayne and the Wayne Enterprises Board of Directors to discuss a potential business cooperation on future projects. Jiraiya and Gaara were accompanying them as security. He had accepted Naruto's employment offer since he knew it would be difficult to find one after what had transpired with Orochimaru. Working with Naruto would be ideal because they were friends, plus he'd be able to obtain aid for his powers at Star Labs. He was now the current Human Resources Director. It was only the 3 of them, with Cisco, Caitlin, and Dr. Wells staying at home. He completed packing all of the meeting equipment and plans, as well as files and binders, before heading to the Cortex to say his goodbyes. While Caitlin was in the lab, Dr. Wells and Cisco were working on computers. Okay, I'm ready to go to Gotham. Are you sure you don't want to come, Dr. Wells? Yes, I'm sure. It was you who spoke with Bruce Wayne about this potential venture, and you will be representing us at this meeting. I have faith in you, and besides, I'd rather avoid flying if at all possible, Dr. Wells said. Fair enough. What about you, Cisco? And you, Caitlin? Naruto inquired. I'd love to, but my parents have prohibited me from traveling because my brother's birthday party is this week, and I have a dinner to attend. Caitlin said, and I'll be here for emotional support for Cisco. Alright, I guess I'll see you three when I get back, Naruto said as he grabbed his baggage and bags. Oh, one more thing, if you see Batman, get me a picture, and if you meet him, ask him where he gets his armor, Cisco said. Sure. Naruto chuckled, I'll ask him at the Superhero Vigilante Club meeting. That's a good idea. You could form a league, Dr. Wells offered. I'll add it to my to-do list, Naruto said, slinging his backpack on before grabbing his bags. Call me if something comes up, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Don't worry, Caitlin. We'll try to handle things on our own so as not to disrupt your meeting. Thank you, Naruto said as Dr. Wells approached him. I'll see you out, Naruto. Dr. Wells and Naruto exited the cortex and walked over to the elevator. Keep your wits about you in Gotham, Naruto. While Cisco's remark about Batman was amusing, your arrival in the city will attract the attention of a few unsavory characters. Do you mean the Cape Crusaders Rogues Gallery will be after me? Naruto inquired. Don't worry, Dr. Wells. I'm capable of handling myself. Even if I don't want to. Yes, I understand why you haven't taken up your suit after what happened. Believe me, I understand. Take this as my concern for a family member, but you can't blame yourself for what happened, Dr. Wells said. Mr. Allen, like the others, shares my concerns. You're being too hard on yourself. Honestly, I think I'm being too hard on myself. Oliver said this road wouldn't be easy, and it isn't, but I'm building myself up, the teenage racer answered. Besides, I don't want to go back out on the field with Barry in the same suit I wore when I killed Orochimaru. I want this to be a new beginning for me, and a new suit will help with that. Fair enough. So, any thoughts on the new suit design? Dr. Wells was interested what the new Impulse would look like if the old one was gone. I'm working on something right now. Maybe by the time I get back, it'll be ready. Take care, Dr. Wells. Naruto said farewell and made his way down to the loading dock, where Linda, Gaara, and Jiraiya awaited him. She was going to drop them off at the airport. Jiraiya had a moderately frustrated expression on his face because he was carrying all of Kurama's toys, bed, and food, not to mention the small fox was squirming and shifting in his arms as if he didn't want to be carried. Let it be known that I am not okay with this, Jiraiya said as Naruto approached and took up Kurama, who immediately calmed down and cuddled into his arms. I guess that answers why he's been so fussy, Linda said as she stepped over to scratch the fox behind the ears. He seemed to enjoy it based on the wagging of his tail. Yup, he doesn't like the old perv. Alright, let's go to the airport, Naruto replied as they all piled into Linda's car and she drove them to the airport. Thank you for the ride and for keeping an eye on Kurama while I'm away. Are you sure you can't come with? Unfortunately, I can't. With all of your groundbreaking discoveries and stories I've had to write, I've fallen behind on the stories I was supposed to write, and my editor is breathing down my neck to finish those, and while I can usually handle him, he's being especially pushy right now, Linda explained. As much as I'd like to accompany you, I'm going to have to pass on this one. Fair enough, Naruto said as they drove to the airport. I'll bring back a souvenir. There was minor traffic, but they arrived at the terminal on time. When numerous airline staff arrived, they got out of the car and loaded all of their belongings onto a trolley. Mr. Namikaze? Inquired the flight attendant, and Naruto nodded. We're here on Mr. Wayne and Mr. Fox's behalf. He has his private jet ready for you and your companions. Can we assist you with your luggage? The flight and airline attendants took all of their stuff. Only the equipment and plans he was presenting at the meeting were not taken. He kept them for security reasons. I'm sure you're kicking yourself for not coming with us now. Linda kissed him on the cheek and said, a little bit. Let me know when you land, and be careful. I will, Naruto assured her as he, Gaara, and Jiraiya were led into the airport and given their own special security line to avoid the crowds. Following that, they took a personal shuttle to the Wayne Enterprises private jet, which was waiting for them on the runway. Their luggage was secured, and they settled into the plush seats. The flight attendant inquired, Mr. Namikaze, would you like some champagne? No, I'm fine. Just some water, please, Naruto said as he sat down. Damn, you're moving up in the world, Aren't you, kid? Jiraiya sat on the couch with his feet up. It's not my jet, you perv, it belongs to Bruce Wayne. Still, this is quite nice. Gaara sat down on a chair that was more than comfy. More so than first-class seats on the most luxurious planes. If private jets are a perk of working for Star Labs, I'm glad I took you up on your job offer. The flight attendant arrived with cups of water for everyone. Please enjoy yourself while we prepare to leave, and let me know if there is anything else I can do, she remarked before heading to the kitchen. So, what now? Jiraiya asked, taking a seat on the couch. Now, you two relax and do whatever you want. We'll be in Gotham City in a few hours, Naruto stated as the jet took flight. The city of Gotham. The jet landed in Gotham City, and after clearing security, a car service dropped them off at the Gotham Royal Hotel, where they'd be sleeping in the Grand Suite. Jiraiya and Gaara were taken aback when Naruto opened the door. Jiraiya stepped over and sat on the couch, saying, "Wow, swanky. Aren't we certainly moving up in the world? Isn't this place a little pricey?" Gaara inquired. "A little, but I can cover it, and in this city, it's the safest place there is, thanks to the Crow's security company," Naruto informed him. "Oh yeah, Crow's security is pretty serious. A lot of people I know retired from the military to work private security, and Crow's is one of the best," Jiraiya continued. "I'm glad you know so much because I need you to go over this," Naruto said, reaching into his backpack and pulling out a file before handing it to him. Jiraiya examined it and noticed it was labeled Atlas Security. "With Star Labs expanding and everything we could do in the future, I've been considering establishing my own private security company to protect all Star Labs sites and personnel." Atlas Security? Jiraiya wondered as he examined the layout and paperwork for the security firm set up. Given this is Star Labs, what better name for a security company than the Greek titan who held up the heavens? Naruto remarked. "I was originally going to name it after a Japanese god, but Amatsu Mikoboshi Security was a bit of a mouthful." "Who?" Gaara inquired. Jiraiya explained, "Amatsu Mikoboshi is the Shinto god of stars. Perhaps rename the Japanese branch Amaterasu Security." That's better. Anyway, it appears to be a good idea, especially if this deal goes your way. Investing in a security company paid for by you is a wise move, Jiraiya remarked. "They'll provide security for your sites when you do expand, and you won't have to worry about corrupt officers or other security agents being paid to spy on you. I've got some contacts I can put out to get you your first recruits." "Awesome. I'm also going to talk to Dig. He has some contacts and some people who need jobs. Atlas Security will be better than the other security firms. Star Labs will provide the best tech and protection, as well as the best pay and benefits to help them." When they heard a knock on the room door, Jiraiya said, "You're starting to sound like a CEO, kid. Come in," Naruto said as the door opened, and in strolled the concierge in room service, who brought in a large tray of elegant and expensive food, as well as a bottle of champagne and a $2,000 bottle of Macallan 25-year-old Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. No, we didn't order this." "Congratulations from the Wayne Enterprises Board of Directors for your meeting tomorrow," the room service patron said. "Oh, that's generous," Naruto said as the concierge handed him a note. "And this has arrived for you as well. Enjoy." They quickly went after that. "Wow, is that caviar?" Gaara said as she stepped over and began eating. Food must have played a role in his recuperation. Naruto opened the letter he received and saw it was from Bruce Wayne. "Congratulations on your success, and here's to a fruitful collaboration, Bruce Wayne," he read. "Man, those company executives must really want this deal to go well tomorrow," Jiraiya commented as he looked over the bottle of scotch and found a letter attached. "You've got another one." "What's in that one?" Naruto said as Jiraiya slid it open. "Yours truly, Thomas Elliot, CEO of Elliot Estates," Jiraiya read, "would like the opportunity to discuss a potential business partnership. Please meet me at the Iceberg Lounge for drinks." Gaara asked, his mouth half full of finger snacks. "Elliot Estates? It's Gotham's second largest real estate company, right behind a Wayne Enterprises subsidiary. Did he say the Iceberg Lounge?" Naruto inquired, and Jiraiya confirmed. Yeah. The Iceberg Lounge. You know what that place has a reputation for, don't you?" Jiraiya inquired. "Of course, it's run by Oswald Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin in the past." "The Penguin?" Gaara thought it was a ridiculous nickname. The story goes that he used to work for various Gotham mob bosses before striking out on his own, taking on the moniker of the Penguin before being taken down by the Batman and sent to Blackgate. Eventually served his time, got out, and went legitimate as a club owner and philanthropist. But people still suspect he's a criminal. He just got really good at hiding his underworld dealings, Naruto explained. Gaara questioned, why would he want you to meet him there? If I had to guess, Elliot has some sway in the club, and the reason he wants to meet you is because I have it on good authority that he's trying to outdo Wayne Enterprises and be the best in Gotham, Jiraiya replied as Naruto and Gaara gazed at him. I have my own ways. So, Elliot sees himself as a venture capitalist and needs me to bring Bruce Wayne down? Pretty much. What are you going to do, kid? Jiraiya and Gaara observed Naruto deliberating his options. The hero in me knows something is wrong with this decision, but the scientist business owner part has to pretend the hero doesn't exist and act ignorant. I guess I'm going, Naruto said as he grabbed his suitcase and proceeded to change. Are you really sure that's a good idea? Gaara inquired as Naruto entered the restroom to change. You just said the place was run by a formerly convicted criminal who is probably still a criminal. I know, but I'm thinking like a superhero who can break the sound barrier in his sneakers rather than a 23-year-old scientist company owner who is blissfully unaware of the criminal underworld. Naruto responded from the restroom. It's a con of living a double life, but I have to play my part. I'll go to the club to hear Elliot's proposal, politely decline his offer, and return as soon as possible. Something tells me that won't be as simple as you think, Jiraiya observed. Well, at least I know how to defend myself. No one said a scientist couldn't know martial arts, and you'll be coming with me, Jiraiya. Spending the night guarding my godson in a criminals club, great, the spy remarked cynically. As if it wasn't better than what you were planning on doing tonight, Gaara, would you mind staying here and keeping an eye on things? With Fallon's warning about her father's threat, I want to make sure everything is in order for tomorrow. Sure thing. Staying the night in a luxury hotel suite with room service, I can handle that, Gaara said as he sat down on the couch. Good, Naruto said as he emerged from the restroom, clothed in a slick gray worksuit. Get dressed, old man, we're going to a party. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening to this video. If you did enjoy this part of the story, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support, and have a great day.